Hello. Good evening. How's everybody doing? Give me one moment to finish setting up your chat. Always takes me just about the length of the song to get this right. We'll see if we've gotten it right again tonight. This will be an uninterrupted, 20 streams in a row where I've gotten this right. So let's see. There it is. There it is. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Good evening. Good afternoon. How we doing? How we be? Sticks and Stones. Thank you for that early $1.49 with the little dog thing, I guess. 2 a.m. is the new 8 p.m. for you. 2 a.m. has always been about 8 p.m. for me. You know, except for times during long stretches of my life where I was forced to keep another sleep schedule. But when left to my own devices, 2 a.m. is about 8 or 9 at night. A tear wells up every time I see that beautiful flag. Of course. Why wouldn't it? It's beautiful. 'Tis a beaut. 'Tis a beaut. Yeah, just refresh. Just refresh. Everything's fine. Nobody panic. Those of you that can hear me, just tell everybody to fucking refresh. It's like this happens every time I start streaming, by the way. Right at the beginning, within the first minute to 5 minutes of me streaming, it just freezes up for people and they have to reload. It's another absolutely fantastic feature of YouTube's wonderfully designed, wonderfully maintained streaming platform. What it do? How's it going, everybody? Good evening. I see that once again, slowly but surely, they're rolling out notifications. It's always an awkward time for the stream. It's like, you know, you don't want to really jump face first into the meat of the stream, but you don't want to keep people waiting who are already here. So it's like, what do? Let's shuffle our feet until, you know, YouTube decides to send out notifications to the last 150 or so people. So how's this weather we've been having, huh? What do y'all think about this weather we've been having? Pretty crazy. Paul, would the government really let half the country get evicted? Yes. I don't really think it's half the country necessarily right now facing eviction. I think it's something like nationally 30 to 35% of people that as of right now are living in places that they can't pay the rent on this month. Paul, you're literally the only person I listen to who makes fucking sense anymore. I'm really drunk, but still, God, I love you. Thank you for inspiring me to come out and showing me smart leftism. All right. Cool beans, man. Cool beans. I shan't be drunk, but I am drinking a little bit of wine. Had some earlier tonight. Finished up the research for tomorrow's show and then spent the balance of the day just kind of chilling with Amelia. Watched a few episodes of Twin Peaks. We ordered out from a little nice place. Had a good little meal. How do I fare in humidity? Now I'm fine. I'm basically a swamp rat now. I mean, look at me. I'm covered in hair. I can go sit outside and barely crack a sweat, even at the hottest that fucking Louisiana can throw at me. So I'm pretty good now. When I first came here, The state almost killed me. My first summer in Louisiana, I almost did not survive. I couldn't be outside for more than 5 minutes at a time without feeling like I was going to collapse. We're good now, though. I've been hardened by the swamp. Swamp has taken my soft, doughy, chewed bubblegum looking ass and turned it into a soft, doughy, chewed bubblegum looking ass that can handle humidity. So, thanks for that. Thanks for asking. Didn't you almost burn to death? Well, there was that too. Yeah, I don't really blame the swamp for that. I blame the people that govern the swamp for that, for allowing a landlord to rent a house that's clearly fucking dangerous. Your room looks humid as fuck? Nah, dude, my room is chill. Air conditionings in Louisiana are no joke, dude. I live in an apartment complex. I got a fucking air conditioner that chills this motherfucker to the bone, keeps it nice and dry in here. Yeah, it doesn't get fucking like I'm not living in a place that lets the fucking humidity in. Thankfully, I suppose for me. Maybe not everybody has that option, but TJ is sneaking Oreos. You think so? Do you have proof of this? Yeah, I would. Dude, I'm telling you, man. You never know when it's going to happen. Is it his cheat day? I think he said like Saturday or Sunday or something is his weekly undo 4 days of progress day, where he eats like 4 times his daily allowance of salt, fat, and trans fat. If shit really hits the fan and the protesters versus feds fight comes to your town, what's your move? I mean, I don't know. Like, that kind of depends on what the situation is. Like, first of all, I doubt that it's going to come to that here, at least not until it's like that everywhere else. But if it did, fuck, dude, I don't know. I don't know what my fucking options are. You know what I mean? Like, did you have a nice anniversary? I did. It was a chill day. There was napping involved. There was a good, healthy, but tasty meal from Copeland's that we ordered out. Yeah. I got a little bit of work done. Chilled with my girlfriend. Drank a little wine. Watched some Twin Peaks. Every good day needs a nap and a good meal. I agree, man. Especially chill days. Like, today's my chill day. You know what I mean? Today's my day off for the week. This is a little, I guess, technically, yesterday was my day off for the week because it is Monday. It is Monday officially. So today is not my day off. I'm just getting up earlier than anybody else to start their workday. Okay. Clap some cheeks to Paul. Yeah, dude. Where are them cheek clappings? Where are the cheek clappings happening? That's one thing I've never been sent. I've never had like a fangirl send or a fanboy send me their cheeks clapping for me. You know what I mean? I've gotten booty pics here and there, but Never like a full blown cheek clap. Flip flap. Snap snap. I lost weight over 25 kilograms by not eating bread, breakfast cereal, sugar, soda drinks, rice, potatoes, or pasta, no starch, not counting calories. Yeah, low carb, yeah. I've done that before. It doesn't work for me. I just can't adhere. Like restrictive diets don't work for me. I don't stick to them. I end up committing to them for short periods of time and then going off of them. So I just do portion control. That's my, that's what I do. That's how I do it. Wouldn't count, you feel, if it was from a boy. Dude, I've been introduced to the wonderful world of male bubble butts, dude. There's some man cheeks out there that can clap. Sick of the diet talk yet? Yeah. I'm always fucking like, I always end up regretting telling people anything. Like look, about a year ago, I was way thinner and I didn't tell a fucking soul that I was eating better and losing weight and shit. And it was nice to be able to start a fucking Highdeology and not get a million fucking diet questions and blah, blah, blah. But this time, as it so happens, we are, engaged. TJ and I are engaged in a little friendly competition. So people are going to know about it. It's going to be discussed. It's going to be talked about. It's going to be run through the grist of the mill until there's nothing of it left. And I feel that I might as well get ahead of it, talk about it a little bit. What's your favorite shit to cook? Bro, I don't really know. I mean, I don't know that I got like a favorite thing. I really like cooking meat. So, especially like grilling, which I don't get to do very often because I just don't live in a place where I can have a grill. But assuming that I did, I'd probably be doing a lot more grilling. I like grilling meat, like cooking steaks and hamburgers and such. So probably just meat in general. TJ is pure muscle. Why is he even dieting? Dude, you got me. You got me, man. The dude is a fucking Adonis already, but I guess some people are never satisfied, Some people look in the mirror and they're just never satisfied with what they see. And I guess TJ is one of those Greek god looking motherfuckers that's like that, He's ripped, he's shredded, he's cut, but he's like, I could be more ripped, I could be more shredded, and I could be more cut. And so he pursues it. With a fiery, red-hot passion, he pursues it. Got a broiler, not quite as good as grilling, but good. No, not really. I mean, I have a broiler in my oven. I can like turn my oven to broil. So I guess that would work, but no. It's not really grilling to me. Dude, ripped TJ would be fucking terrifying. He would be a terrifying. He would look like the fucking mountain. He would look like Gregor Clegane, the mountain that rides, dude. That would be ripped TJ. He's like the same height as TJ, but just ripped, Oh, Jesus. Beg your pardon. Got a little something caught in my throat. Oh, yeah. My look is complete. Now it's time to light some incense, as is customary here on Highdeology. Some of you may not know this, but almost every Highdeology I do in here is accompanied by at least a couple of sticks of incense being burned. I am an old school hippie. I reek of patchouli oil. And I love incense. I burn it all the time. What scent are you burning right now? I'm burning this meditation scent. I got a big like sampler box of this brand from Amazon. Paul is insensitive. Who told you that? Who told you such a fucking lie about me? I'm actually super sensitive, dude. I'm one sensitive motherfucker, and no joke. I'm a sensate. Any good memories as a kid? I got a lot of good memories as a kid, man. That's kind of broad, though. Good memories of what? I mean, everybody has at least a good memory. Well, maybe not everybody. I mean, like, let's be honest here. There's some people out there that lived childhoods that are basically just day to day, hour to hour, second to second torture. But, you know, most people got some good memories from childhood. Right? A memory here, a memory there. Are you a Cab Sauvignon guy or a Chardonnay guy? I like reds better than whites, but I like wine in general. I'm not really any kind of wine guy. Paul, tell us where good memories happened, and I'll go to that same spot. Town and Country Park. Some of the spots I probably couldn't just tell you to go to. Paul's dad. Confirmed resident of Madeira. Trying to think, like, where else did we chill? We used to chill in the parking lot of the Blockbuster a lot, but I know there's not a Blockbuster anymore. I don't know what's there now. But if you've been in Madeira long enough, where the old Blockbuster was, that like parking lot right there where there's trees, and you can park. We used to just like park there and smoke a lot because nobody would fuck with you there. What happened here? My vape sprung a leak. Why have you done this? Why have you leaked? Are you worried the coronavirus vaccine is going to be too expensive for most Americans? I mean, that's one of the worries that I have about it. To be quite frank with you, I'm worried that no such vaccine will be able to be synthesized, or that it won't be effective. And that is, by the way, that like there's a lot of people out there that are talking about a vaccine for this virus as if it's a foregone conclusion that it'll happen soon. And I know that there are several vaccines and clinical trials and stuff now, and hey, maybe we'll have one soon, but yes, COVID can mutate, as is evidenced by the multiple strains of it that have infected human beings. If you chill in a parking lot, does it become a parky lot? Oh, shit. We got ourselves a comedian over here, ladies and gentlemen. Pardon me if I don't belly laugh, sir. Hardy har, sir. Hardy har. A tee hee hee and a ho ho ho. And away we go. How on earth you got away with chilling in front of Save Mart? Dude, there used to be, maybe there's not anymore, but not in front of Save Mart, but like all the way across the parking lot at that far end where the Blockbuster used to be. Like, dude, you could park your car there. There was like trees there that kind of obscured the view from the main street that passes by there. I can't remember the name of the street. It's like, I don't know. Anyway, you know the area I'm talking about. We would just park there and like sit in somebody's car and smoke a J. Like it was real easy. The problem with the COVID vaccine extortion conspiracy is that it forgets in most of the Western world, people don't pay for medical treatment. Oh. Well, if the vaccine is synthesized by an American company, they will pay for the vaccine in the form of taxes. Their government will be forced to purchase it wholesale from the American government. Do you have any opinion about Bill Gates' preemptive investment years ago in a vaccine for future potential pandemics? It seems as if he just wants to profit. Of course he does. I mean, of course he does. He's a billionaire, and he realizes that if there is a giant pandemic like the one we're going through now, and he owns the fucking right to the vaccines, he stands to be a billionaire many, many times over. Again. When I was younger, I just hopped the fence at Lincoln. You ever do that at schools? Yeah, I went to Millview, and there was like a part of the fence when I was in like 4th grade that was like fucked up where you could slip out of it. And there was this little like convenience store called, I can't remember the name of it, honestly. Now I think about it. And it's gone now. Like it wasn't there when I worked there. It had been torn down. But when I was a kid, there was this little ramshackle, like locally owned convenience store there. And we would sneak out of school and go there, and if we had like 50 cents in our pockets, we get some candy or something. I remember buying packs of Garbage Pail Kids cards with my lunch money over there. So yeah, it happened. The dude that ran it clearly didn't care about kids ditching school to come buy Garbage Pail Kids cards, so it was a good setup. Thoughts on the upcoming Mike Tyson's versus Roy Jones Jr. fight? Are they really doing that? I really wish Mike Tyson wouldn't fight again, honestly. Like, I don't know if that's a joke. That sounds like a joke, but if like, whatever. I mean, I know he's in good shape and shit, but I just don't want to see him get his head pounded around anymore and shit. He's done enough, dude. Dude is quite possibly the greatest heavyweight champion of all time. Certainly one of the most explosive fighters to ever fight, in the squared circle. He's got shit out. He's got fuck all to prove, It's real, apparently. Well, oh, dude, Tyson was a fucking dude. It was a privilege growing up at a time where he was the heavyweight champion, and getting to watch his fights was just always like fucking insane. His big championship bouts, we would always go to my aunt's house. She had the black box, which is a thing you used to be able to get back in the day for your cable. They called it the black box, and it basically unscrambled all the premium channels and gave you pay-per-view channels and shit for free. So it was like, we'd go over to her house, we'd kick back. The adults would drink, the kids would eat pizza, and we'd watch Mike Tyson beat the fuck out of somebody. If you went to the bathroom, you'd miss the fight sometimes. Yeah. I mean, there were some Mike Tyson's fights in his career that went, 4, 5, 6 rounds or whatever. But yeah, he was known for first, second round knockouts for sure. You went to take a shit, you might come back and miss it. I don't remember no game called Muhammad Ali's Punch Out. Yeah, that's true. Probably because Muhammad Ali wouldn't. I'm sure if he was willing to sign the shit, that Nintendo would be happy to make a Muhammad Ali's Punch Out. But alas. Did Buster? Yeah. The Buster Douglas fight. I mean, it was apparent at a certain point in Tyson's career that he just wasn't training anymore. You know what I mean? Like, he just wasn't taking it seriously. He wasn't fucking. He didn't feel like he had to anymore. And people started to take advantage of him. They gassed him out and they beat his ass. And Buster Douglas was one of those dudes. I wish he went up against George Foreman when they were both fighting. I mean, Foreman in his prime versus Tyson in his prime would have been a fucking fight for sure. Someone got rich that day. Yeah, a lot of somebody's got rich that day. Although I do remember in the lead up to that fight, it wasn't like, you got to understand, like, by the point Mike Tyson faced off against Buster Douglas, his star wasn't as bright as it was. And the commentators, I remember, were all pretty worried about Mike's physical condition and training routine and shit. So he had already started to fall off by that time. It wasn't a foregone conclusion that he was going to beat the fuck out of Buster Douglas. Now, in the minds of a lot of Mike Tyson fans, it was, but when it came to the people that actually watched Mike Tyson and watched Buster box and shit, the odds were probably not as weighted for Tyson as they were in some of his other fights. What do you think about kids these days never knowing what the mall experience is like, only things getting delivered from Amazon? I got to be honest with you, man. By the time I was a teenager, mall culture was on its way out. In the 90s, kids still went to the mall and stuff. I did. I went and chilled at the mall with my friends, but I got to tell you, man, it was not. I don't know. I don't think I really got the full experience. I think if I'd have been a teenager in the 80s and the 70s and shit, I really would have gotten that like mall rat kind of experience. But in the 90s, the mall chilling shit had already started by the time, especially by the time I was like 15 and 95, 96. You know what I mean? It had already started to really pretty steeply decline. Kids were chilling other places and playing a lot more video games and shit by that time. And like, me and my friends at that age were way more apt to chill at one of our houses with an N64 hooked up, playing some GoldenEye or some shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, Orange Julius, yeah. Let's go get some Sparrow, man. Let's get a slice of Sparrow, and then we'll make our way to the Orange Julius stand, and then we'll go fucking look at Hot Topic, get all the shit we can't afford. And it was kind of lame, you know what I mean? Because that's really what it was for me. Like, I didn't have pockets full of money and shit, so it's not like I could go to the mall and get cool shit. It was just like, yeah, I might have enough money in my pocket at 16, 17 to get a Julius. But I'm not going to be able to buy that cool ass, 9-inch nails shirt at Hot Topic. Spencer's Gifts, yeah. Let's go to Spencer's Gifts. Look at all the other expensive shit we can't afford. I don't know. It just kind of sucked. Some malls won't allow kids under 16 unaccompanied. Yeah, that's a new rule, man. That's a new rule. Back in my day, there were just like hordes of like teens and tweens running around malls and shit. parents used to just like drop their kids off at one end of the mall, and then they'd go shop at the other end and be like, meet at the food court at fucking, noon or whatever. And the kids would just run fucking riot all over the goddamn mall. Yeah, let's go look at the dildos at Spencer's. The vibrating eggs. Fuck Paul, you don't care. Fuck you. Why are you so mad, Dolphin Boy? What happened? Fuck me? What happened, dude? Who hurt you? How did I hurt you? Did I hurt you? Did I say something mean to you or something? Fucky you, Disney. Yikes. Well, he got 300 seconds to think about it. Went through a whole shoplifting phase as a teen. Yeah, I never did. I wasn't, I never did the 5-finger discount shit, although I hung out with people who did and benefited from it multiple times, but I was never one to go in and try and pocket some shit. But, no judgment. You and pretty much every other teenager, you know what I mean? Like, our mall had a sweet arcade, but I was always too broke to enjoy it much. Yeah, our mall, like the mall that I used to hang out with at when I was a kid was in Fresno. It's called Fashion Fair, and it had like a little arcade, but it was fucking shit, dude. It was a dog shit arcade. Had a couple of it was a tiny little room, that had a couple little cabinets in it, and some of those like grabber games, the fucking like win a toy type of crane games or whatever the fuck, and that was it. It was dog shit. But we had some good arcades around when I was a kid in the area I grew up in. The best one in my area when I was growing up, and I don't even know if it's still there, was at a place called Blackbeard's, which was like this mini golf slash you could go kart type of place. It was like a I don't know how to explain it. Like a really miniature theme park type of place. There's lots of these in like little towns and shit. And ours was called Blackbeard's, and it was pirate themed. And Blackbeard's had this fucking gigantic warehouse that was filled with arcade cabinets. All of the SNK fighters, all the old school shit. Fucking, it was great, dude. So that was one of my favorite places to go. Yeah, there was another mall in Fresno, but we never went to it. There was the Fulton Mall, which was like the dirt mall, and still is, by the way, I think, in Fresno. The Fulton Mall in Fresno, no bueno, dude. Not back in the day, you didn't go to the Fulton Mall, man. That was the dirty ass, fucking shitty ass, crappy ass, dangerous mall. You know what I mean? You went to Fashion Fair. Pharaoh's Kingdom in Redlands. It sounds like about the same kind of place. It's still here and looks exactly the same as it did 10 years ago. That's crazy, man. Does it still have a big-ass arcade? Dude, if Blackbeard still has a big-ass arcade, next time I go back and visit, I'm going to Blackbeard's. Like, no joke. It's been a long-ass time since I fucking took a $20 bill and put it in and got some tokens and ran around the arcade for a couple hours, man. Did you go to record stores? Yeah. Not really till later in my life, though. There were really no record stores to speak of in Madera, but there were in Fresno. So when I was about, 18, 19, and then after I moved back in my early 20s, there's a Tower Records that became Rasputin Records. A good friend of mine was the manager of Rasputin Records for a while. So, yeah, I used to like to go and chill at record stores, but there weren't a whole lot of choices in my area. There's no Blackbeards I ever heard of in Madera. It's in Fresno. Yeah, there's nothing like that in Madera. Have you ever lived anywhere with harsh winters? No. I lived in Ohio for 2 months during a harsh winter when I was first joining the Drunken Peasants. I stayed at a extended stay in trying to remember the town, some suburb of Columbus, Dublin, I think it was Dublin, Ohio, and it was a snowy, shitty winter. Your brother lived in Tower, yeah. I remember the mall in town I lived in having some local businesses too. Yeah. I mean, like you would, you'd get like the big chain stores and shit, and then there'd be some like, locally owned kind of like specialty shops or whatever. Ohio sucks ass. God, fuck this place. You're mad at Ohio. I don't know. I didn't feel like Ohio really sucked that bad, but maybe I'm wrong. I wasn't there for a whole lot of time. Those minus 45 degrees Celsius temperatures with the wind, 4 feet of snow. It's beautiful and it sucks. Yeah, I'd really rather not live in a place that gets just like ass dumped with fucking snow. Like if I had my druthers, I'd probably not live in a place that's just buried in fucking snow year round. But I think I could handle it okay if I ended up in such a place. Like, I don't think I would be as resistant to it as some folks would maybe be. I've got the wanderlust, man. I can pretty much acclimate, I feel like, to anywhere, at least in the United States. Like in terms of weather and bullshit. Like it doesn't really impact me all that much. Takes me a little while to get used to it, and then on we go. The American nomad, yeah. No, I actually like the idea, like, there are certain people that feel like they really got to have roots. And I spent a lot of my life living that way. Like, I was born and raised in Central California. I stayed there most of my life, even now. Most of my life was spent in Madera, California. And, I really chased that, like, having a place where you got roots and everybody. And I had that, and I wasn't happy. And since I've left that place, I've lived in 1, 2, 3, 4 different cities and 3 different states. And, I've liked doing it. Like I like moving to a new area. I like the new scenery. I like the new weather. I like it all. I enjoy it, man. You got to get out. Yeah, I mean, like, there is a meme about Madera, California, that it's basically a tar pit that nobody ever really gets out, or very few people ever really get out. Like, and it really rings true. I think it's true for a lot of small towns, though. People that are raised in small towns oftentimes drift back to them at some point in their life. And the same is true where I grew up. We have people going like, I got to get the fuck out of this shithole, man. Goodbye, Madera. And then 2 years later, you hear so-and-so's back in Madtown, and you're like, oh, okay. Another one bites the dust. They boomeranged. The thought of dying in the same town I was born and raised in is my biggest nightmare, for real. You still living, Sarah, in the town you were born and raised in? I'm just wondering. I mean, not to pry or whatever. Ever had a bad shroom experience? No. I've never had a bad hallucinogenic experience, period. I've had more intense ones, but like when you understand what a hallucinogen is and what it does to you, having a bad experience is kind of like, at least for me, it's precluded. Like, I have more, like I've had acid trips that were incredibly intense and maybe even a little frightening, but I never lost grip of the fact that I was on a hallucinogen. I was able to keep at least a pinky toe planted in reality somewhere. Gypsy Bard. Ah, yes. You can't say gypsy anymore, can you? Isn't that like a no-no? Isn't gypsy like a bad term? Eat your own pie, white man from town. Die clean, white man from town. Eat your own pie. Anybody know what that's from? 1,000 internet points on the line. Thinner. There you go. There you go. Nope, left a year ago, but I'm supposed to be going back soon. It's hard because of how close I am to my sister. It's really hard to be away from her. That was the toughest part about, I think that's probably the hardest part of leaving any place where you were born and raised, People that are moving around during their childhood probably don't have this problem, but people like me and apparently Sarah and a lot of people in the chat who've been born and raised in one area their whole life, it's like you can grow to really hate that area, but everybody that you really genuinely care about is there, And so it's like, it's very hard. It's still hard for me. Being away from my family is not something I relish. And it's not easy for me. I miss them terribly sometimes, but sorry. Like, I don't know what to say. It's just like, I had to go my own way. I had to do my own thing. It's easier if your family is toxic as fuck. Not necessarily. My family's a little bit toxic, not horribly, but they're a little bit toxic, but I still love them. I still miss them. I still like laughing with them. They still know me better than anybody knows me. You know what I mean? They grew up around me. You know what I mean? So everybody's got a little toxicity going on. I guess if the toxicity level is way high, then of course, ignore what I just said. But, my family's a little toxic. Maybe sometimes more than a little toxic, but I still love them. You miss the good about them, yeah. You miss the good times, the laughs. You miss being around people who just fucking know you. You know what I mean? So you don't got to put on a mask. You don't got to put on a face. You know what I mean? You don't got to worry about what they're going to think if you say X, Y, or Z. It's just like they just know you. They expect it from you, And that's a nice thing. They toxic, pour the tea. I mean, I've told you guys some shit. I already told you guys some shit. There's no real tea. I'm not trying to fucking like spill the tea on my family or anything. But you guys have heard about my childhood, nothing's perfect. Everybody's got problems. The thing below you looks like the male bits, Paul. I cannot type the name for the genitals. It looks like the male bits. The male bits. What kind of male bits have you seen, bruh? I watched your stream making the Highdeology flag last night. 'Tis a thing of beauty, isn't it? Isn't it, though? I'm so proud of it. It's a goddamn thing of beauty, isn't it? Who knew? Who knew I had it in me? Such an artistic endeavor. Any good times with your sisters? From what I've heard, they sound like they just sucked. Nah, man. I mean, like, look, when you're kids, there's all kinds of bullshit. There's all kinds of sibling rivalry and shit that goes on. Or at least there was in my household. I was the only boy, so of course I was a bit ostracized from the crew but yeah, dude, there were good times. I love my sisters. They've all gone their separate ways. They all have very different lives now and stuff, but I still love my sisters. We had good times. The tiptoeing you have to do in conversations with your family sometimes. My family's really not like that. My family doesn't tiptoe. I come from a very unsubtle people. You might be able to tell. Subtlety is not our art. We're very blunt. We're very honest with one another. And so there's really not a lot of tiptoeing. Now, sometimes, yeah, of course, there's touchy subjects in the family that you don't go like blowing up. But yeah, no, my family's very boisterous. Let's put it that way. My big sister would randomly punch me in the face all the time to the point that I'd flinch when she raised her hand. Oh yeah, dude, my sisters, see, like that, the whole double standard against violence was really apparent in my house. If I ever, and there was a time that I punched one of my sisters. I'll admit it, dude. I'll admit it, and I'll tell you how it went down, dude. I'll tell you how the whole fucking thing went down. It was in the morning. We were getting ready for school. My mom was working graveyard shift, so she was not home yet. We were waiting for her to get home so she could run us to school and then come home and go to bed. And I was probably in my early teens. I was probably 13 or probably 12, something like that, which would have made my little sister like 9, 10. And we got in a fight over what we were going to watch on TV. She wanted to watch whatever, and I wanted to watch whatever. And she ended up squabbling with me over the remote. And then she threw the remote and broke it. Right? And I knew I was like, you're in fucking trouble. And she was like, you made me do it. You were fighting with me over it. I'm going to tell mom, blah, 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 blah. And we got in this big fight. So anyway, at some point during the fight, she gets over and gets in my face, and I'm just kind of standing there like, and she pulls a quick knee up and like knees me in the balls. Now, wasn't the first time that I'd been kneed or kicked or punched in the balls, but I got to tell you, dude, when you get punched in the balls or like when you're not expecting it, like there's an immediate reaction sometimes. And so she hit me in the balls, and it wasn't hard enough to like knock me down, but it was hard enough to fucking like hurt real bad. And so without even really thinking, I just reared back and I punched her in the stomach as hard as I fucking could. And I got in so much goddamn trouble. Oh my God. Cause my mom, like I said, was on her way home. So she comes home. My sister's on the ground crying. She goes, what happened? PJ punched me in the stomach. And that's basically the narrative at that point. Yeah, I punched her right in the gut. Like she was shorter than me. So I just like reached back and went like, ugh. You know what I mean? She and fell over. And then I fucking was like, and then mom came home. And the narrative that was sold to mom is that I went ape shit and punched her in the stomach. The fact that she fucking kicked me in the balls, that, whatever. Gloss that over. I'm supposed to set the example. And I'm a boy, and you're not supposed to hit girls. But what are you going to do? Why does this story piss you off? I don't know. The double standard, maybe. My sister threw a baby turtle I had as a pet against a wall on 2 occasions, seemingly to see my horrified reaction. Full thing never grew in a full-size turtle. She's kind to animals now. Yeah, kids are fucked up, dude. Kids are fucked up. Like, kids are going to do some fucked up shit. She's lucky you didn't hit her head. Probably would turn out with some childhood memory loss for her. Like, yeah, dude, I don't know. There was enough decision-making process in my mind to not punch her in the face, but I went straight into her gut. I hit her right in the breadbasket, dude, with one of those, you know, that like underhand kind of like, I remember it. Felt good. Paul's ego's a woman abuser. Oh, boy. Here we go. Cancel Paul. Cancel Paul's ego. He done punched a girl. Didn't you fantasize about killing them all when you cheated at life? It wasn't only then. I fantasized about killing each and every one of my sisters probably a half dozen times at least a piece. As I'm sure they probably fantasized about me too. Like, sisters are, you know, siblings are fucking like mean to each other. You know what I mean? They shit on each other. It's pretty routine. The cheeseburger slap was one of my favorite stories about one of your sisters. Yeah, that was my biological sister. Same one that got punched in the gut, by the way. But yeah, she ate a cheeseburger the wrong way. You know what I mean? She ate a jumbo jack the hard way. It just had to happen. But once again, it was another instance. She hit me first. So what am I gonna do? I mean, I've told that story before, but in a nutshell, I was working at a fucking Blockbuster, and I didn't know it at the time, but I was coming down with mononucleosis, so I felt sick. I worked the whole day, closed out the store, came home. I was tired. On my way back, felt like I could eat something, so I grabbed it like a jumbo jack meal. And my dad and stepmom were out of town, and my little sister had thrown a party. She had a couple of her friends over, and they'd gotten drunk, and for whatever reason, they decided to get drunk in my room. And so when I got home, really all I wanted to do was like sit down in my fucking room at my computer, eat my jumbo jack and veg for a minute, and then just roll into my bed and pass out. And when I got into my room, there's my sister and 2 of her friends all drunk, passed out in my bed. And there were just like beer cans and shit everywhere. And so I woke her up. You know, and I tried to be nice but firm about it. I woke her up and I was like, you have a room. I'm sick. I don't feel good. You need to clean up this shit and take these chicks upstairs to your room. Like, I don't care. You guys are partying or whatever. I don't give a fuck. But like, I'm not sleeping on the couch. I feel like shit. I just got home from work. And she gave me this like, kind of attitude-y laced, like, fuck you know, kind of thing. And I just walked away. I was like, I'm going to go sit on the lawn. I'm going to go sit outside and enjoy the night air. And I'm going to eat my jumbo jack. And when I come back in, you are going to have these bitches upstairs. And my room's going to be ready for me to fucking sleep in it. And I walked out. And I sat down on the grass and I started eating my fucking fries or whatever. Took a sip of my Diet Coke. And my sister came stumbling out. What did you call my friends? Did you call my friends bitches? Fuck you. You can't blah, blah, blah. She's talking all this shit. And I'm just sitting there and like, I've got the fucking burger in my hands and I'm just sitting there listening to her. You know, because look, dude, I've been around a lot of drunk people and I've been on the receiving end and on the giving end of a lot of drunk rants and raves and shit. So this was not like out of my wheelhouse. So I just kind of sat there and she's like, you ain't gonna call my friend bitches, blah, blah, blah. She was like, I dare you. I dare you call them bitches again. And I like, was eating some fries and shit. And I like, looked up at her. See, I'm sitting like cross-legged on the fucking lawn and she's standing over me as this is going on, right? And I kind of like looked up at her and I was like, your friends are fucking bitches. And as soon as the sentence finished, she reared back and bitch slapped me in the face as hard as she could. Just like, pop. And I was like, and the wheels started turning. You know what I mean? The anger wheels started turning. And I looked at I took stock of my fucking weaponry. I had some fries. I had a Coke. I briefly, like, you know, thought about throwing my Coke in her face or something, but that wasn't good enough. And then I looked and I had the hamburger out. You know what I mean? And it just worked out perfectly. It was one of those things that worked out perfectly. She was talking shit. She'd slap me. And I wasn't even hearing what she was saying. Because you know how, like, after something like that will happen, the drunk person will keep on like, oh, that's right. But I didn't even hear the words she was saying. Like, I was formulating my plan at this point in my head. You know, the tactician had kicked in. So I tuned out the drunken shit, and I was like, what am I going to do? How will she pay for this? And the burger was the answer. So I started getting up, you know, slowly holding the burger in my hand. And she's still talking shit, not even really noticing that I'm standing up. Doing that teenage girl thing where the neck is rolling everywhere, you know, whatever she was, I don't know. And I just hefted that burger in my hand and I reared it back. And it worked out perfectly. Like, when I reared it back like this, the top bun fell off, which exposed the pickles and the tomato and the mustard and ketchup and mayo and lettuce and all that soggy shit, you know? And then I fed it to her like that. I hit her right in the face with the burger like that. Just, and that's basically the sound it made too. It was like, and for a second I thought the sound was the burger hitting her face, but it was actually a tomato, which when the burger hit her face, flew behind her and stuck against the window of my car. So that was really like the loudest part of that, was like I hit her with the burger and then the tomato was like, and she stood there and, like, I swear to God, dude, she had like mayonnaise and ketchup like all up her nose. There was like lettuce all over her face and like chunks of meat. And she was stunned. And like, I just brushed what was left of the burger off my hands like this. I was just like, and I sat down cross-legged again and I started eating my fries. And she stood there for probably a good minute, just like with burger, like dripping off of her, cheese, you know. And then she just kind of did an about face and walked back into the house. I finished my fries and my Coke and smoked a cigarette. And by the time I got inside, my room had been cleaned. All the beer cans had been taken out of my room. All the chicks had been woken up and moved into her room, apparently. And they'd even turned my bed was turned back. You know how, like, when you make a bed, you can just like throw the comforter over the pillows and leave it at that? They didn't even do that. They made it and then like pulled my comforter back to where it was like nice and evenly creased in front of my pillows. It was the fucking most beautiful shit. And I went inside and yeah, I was still a little hungry. I would have rather ate that burger, but I laid down. Now, a lot of people would say that karma got me in the end, because the next day I woke up and I had full-blown mononucleosis, and that was like 2 weeks of fucking hell, where I barely remember. My fever was so high, I basically slept and woke up to pee, and every once in a while somebody would come in and try and feed me some soup, and I'd eat a bite of it, drink a little water. That was a horrible disease. So, yeah, maybe that was karma for feeding her the burger the wrong way, but it was pretty dope. It was a pretty good moment. Moral of the story, always get 2 burgers. Yes, dude. Good point. If I'd have just told him, hey, put another jumbo jack on there, it would have cost me what, like back in the fucking late 90s, $1. Give me the jumbo jack with an extra jumbo jack. The jumbo jack combo with an extra jumbo jack, please. Look, dude, I'm not saying she deserved it. I'm not a violent guy and shit. But in my position, 2 people were hit in that situation and everything worked out. You know, so there are people that say that violence never solves anything. And I think that story stands as proof that it does. Every once in a while, violence does solve a problem. She 100% had it coming. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, dude, I was a kid. We're kids. I made a snap judgment. I made a snap decision, you know? She slapped your ass hard as she could. You have to get creative when you get pissed at girls because you don't want to hurt them. Yeah. I mean, I didn't break, you know, she wasn't hurt by it. Her pride was probably hurt. It probably sucked having like ground beef up her nose and shit. But beyond that, she was fine. She were fine. Okay, maybe she didn't, but I 100% endorse it. Yeah, you know. Look, dude, I'm not going to lie. It happened. I'm not exactly proud of it, but I'm not exactly ashamed of it either. You know what I mean? This is one of those things. I would probably just pepper spray a girl if she hit me. All right. Well, I mean, you'd probably end up in jail and she wouldn't. The new motto, don't use violence all the time, only when it's deserved. Yeah, I mean, but who does the best, look, this may sound weird coming out of me, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. As funny as that story is, the best thing I could have done would be take the advice of Jesus and turn the other cheek. You know, that would have been the big thing to do. That would have been I don't know what you call it, the honorable way to go about it. But it didn't go down that way. I walked a different path. I mean, I did call her friends bitches for no reason. No, so it wasn't totally unprovoked, because that was my bad mood shining through. So I did provoke it a little bit. I knew my sister was a hothead when she was drunk. I knew it was going to piss her off for me to call her friends bitches. So I had my hand in escalating what happened, you know what I mean? It's the best decision I've ever made. Stop it. Okay. Fair enough. The greatest moment of my life. I hit my peak that night with that jumbo jack. I never respected a woman's right to assault men without repercussion. Well, I'll tell you guys a little story, man. Like, and this is a tough story for me to tell. The first relationship that I was in turned abusive physically towards me. I was hit, pinched, kind of backed into corners and like not allowed to leave as, like fights were going on and shit. And it took me a long time to like recognize that, because I was raised in a culture where that didn't happen to men, that happened to women. You know what I mean? Women were the ones that were abused by men. Men would slap and hit and dig their nails into women's arms and push them up against walls and shit. But all that shit happened to me. In my first relationship. And it wasn't a constant withering stream of abuse like some people endure, but it happened enough times over the course of our relationship that it was clearly, like looking back on it, a physically abusive situation that I was in. And I think probably the reason that I found myself in that position had a lot to do with being raised around, nothing but sisters and younger sisters at that, you know? So did she promise she wouldn't do it again? No, it was never like that, man. It would just happen. Like it was sometimes just like a routine part of our arguments, which would get heated, like real heated. Um, One of the things about my life that's only recently changed, and this is not an indictment of any of the people that I've been with, so please don't take it that way. But pretty much every relationship I've been in, except for the one that I'm in now, I got into horrible, horrible, vicious verbal fights with the person. Mutual. You know, I don't ever feel like I was the sole instigator, but horrible, vicious verbal arguments were pretty much a part of every relationship I've had up until now. My girlfriend now and I, you know, we disagree, but we've never screamed. I mean, we've been together a year and we've never screamed and yelled at each other once. You know, we've gotten into disagreements. We've, you know, had periods where we didn't agree on something or another, but you know, we've never once gotten to that point where we're just like screaming at each other. And I fucking love that. Because I got to tell you, dude, I'm done with that shit. That is the worst fucking shit. Anybody that's never spent a night with a significant other where you have one of these fights that just like happens in rounds, where it's like you yell at each other for a while and then one of you storms off, and then 20, 30, 40 minutes later, the person comes up and it starts again, or the person comes back down and it starts again. Dude, I've been in so many of those, I couldn't count. So many of those fucking fights that literally just consume an entire fucking half day and sometimes spill over into other days and shit. I remember you had post-fight streams back in the day. Did I? I usually tried to not talk about those when they happened, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, hot take, but I think that a single screaming match should be the end of any relationship. I mean, maybe you're right, dude. I don't know. Look, people are people. Emotions run high in relationships. Like, I'm not naive. I may, you know, end up in, you know, one of these kind of hurtful fights with my girlfriend now, although it's just kind of hard for me to imagine. But, you know, it may happen. We might, you know, who knows? I don't know. You may be right. I will tell you this, dude, that those fucking screaming mad fights, they're no joke. Like, people joke about that shit, and I think to a certain extent it's normalized in our culture for you to have these yelling matches with your wife or your significant other or whatever the fuck. But man, I don't ever want to be that way again. I don't want to be in that position again. I don't want to be that person anymore. Like, I want to, like, I've really worked hard to try and find outlets for my anger because, you know, on my part, I'm not going to speak for the other people that I've been with, but on my part, unchecked anger, unaddressed anger was at the root of my reactions and my escalations and those types of verbal disagreements. And I really tried to like grow as a person. Also, I've just gotten older. And as I've gotten older, I feel like I've mellowed a bit, you know, that's, you know, a year and a half ago, I was in a relationship with somebody who, you know, we fought a lot. We argued a lot. There were a lot of hurtful things on both sides said. And it's just like, you know, what are you going to do? So I'm really doing my best to not perpetuate the cycle yet again in my life because I don't like it. I don't like being that way. It sucks when it gets to the point where you're saying things for the sake of hurting the other person, like saying things you don't even really mean. That has long. Oh yeah, dude, those things build up. They really do. And you guys know me. Like, you guys have seen how I can get on shows and here. You guys know, like, those of you that are savvy enough to like watch my interactions over the years and stuff are probably well aware that I have a bit of an anger management problem. I'm prone to outbursts, and that is one of my one of the things about me that I'm least proud of is my propensity to be really mean, because I can be really, really mean and degrading to a person, and I have been. To everybody that I've dated, I have done that. So, I talked earlier about being the victim of physical abuse, but I have participated in mutual verbal abuse with everybody that I've ever fucking been in a relationship with. So, I don't want that to happen anymore. I don't want to be that anymore. I don't want to be at the center of that anymore. I don't understand why a lot of people stay in relationships with people they fight with. I can't really explain it either, other than the fact that a lot of times, at least in my experience, and this is a fucked up thing, but it's true, a lot of times those fights were indicative of a passion that was in the relationship that wasn't necessarily negative. It's like when you really fucking love someone and they piss you off or you piss them off, it's different than just some fucking rando in the street. You know what I mean? It's different than just some asshole at work. It's like, it hits harder. It's a deeper thing. I've gotten to that point a few times too with family members too, which is the worst. I've said things that I still feel guilty about. Shit's hard. Yeah. I mean, all you can do is try and make your apologies. And I've done that, to the best of my ability, to the people who I've hurt personally. If I really feel like I've done something that I've done wrong or said something that was way out of fucking line, I try and make amends for it. But there's just some shit you can't take back. Like, there's some wounds that can't be healed by time or apologies. You know what I mean? And it's my contention, and I might be wrong, and I'm not trying to diminish physical violence or abuse, but it's my contention that some comments can hurt worse than being punched in the face or slapped in the face or stuff like that. Like, they can leave a more lasting wound. You ever gotten into a really heated argument with TJ? No, not really. He and I bicker. We talked about this, I think, on a Grease Trap or one of the recent shows we released. But he and I don't really fuck you, motherfucker. You want to go do it? I don't do that with anybody though, really. But he and I bicker. You know what I mean? People are willing to tolerate extremely stressful situations in the name of love and sexuality. This is true. This is true. Paul, you missed my super chat and somebody else's. Well, I apologize for that. Let me go back. Duck fact. Male ducks have long corkscrew penis. Yes, I knew that, but thank you. Thank you, Lord of Duck. What was your first impression of TJ's amazing atheist vids? I mean, if you go back and watch the first video on this channel, I didn't like TJ at first. I thought he was pompous, arrogant, overly edgy. He was involved, when I got involved in YouTube, he had started this, or he was trying to start this atheist advocacy group, I guess, called Atheist Scum United. I fucking thought it was a stupid idea. So yeah, my my first impressions of TJ were that I didn't like him all that much. Sometimes in the DP days, could see there was more than kayfabe anger going on, like with IKEA and the backwards Hadouken. Oh yeah, there was more than. I mean, those incidents are incidents that people bring up, and they think like, oh yeah, here's a real, like here's where it got real. But there were a lot of fights on that show that were fucking straight out real. There was a lot of real angst on that show between the principal personalities on it at times. Spill tea. Like what tea? There's really no tea. Go back and watch the show. Late DP was an absolute salt fest. You're right, man. It hit a crescendo at one point for sure. The Santa and the fat kid argument was definitely real. There was a bunch. Yeah, there was a bunch of definitely real shit. There was a time where Ben got all drunk and like peed in a cup and came over and accidentally spilled some on me. That almost turned into a fist fight. Like there was a moment there where Ben almost caught hands right there in the studio. You know what I mean? There's just some shit, shit went down. What episode was that? I don't know. I don't remember the number. You know what I mean? You can't ask me that. I was on hundreds of episodes of DP, so. Wow, I thought that was fake. No, that was not fake. That was real. People were calling it kayfabe. There was no kayfabe. That was straight out real. Did you ever get in a real fight with Billy? No, that was kayfabe. That was planned. See, here's what happened. I liked Billy the Fridge, and I was instrumental in getting him on as a guest. I recommended him as a guest, as a guy that I knew lived in the area. I went down to the street level to meet Billy when he showed up for the show, and we instantly hit it off, man. He was one of those dudes, like, you ever meet a person where you're just like, the first time you shake hands and you do that like one-handed bro hug, you got a friend. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if Billy felt it, but for me, it was just instantly like, I like this dude. And so we had kind of a walk, we had to walk through the parking lot of the old building that the studio was in and go up a couple of elevators to get up to it. And so on the way there, I planned out the entire Billy Fabe incident with him. I told him this idea that I had, because at that time on DP, it was very, very popular in the fan community to make fun of me and to shit on me. And I was loving it. Like, I was eating it up. I wanted to stoke the fires of that, right? And so I told Billy the situation. I was like, we're going through a period right now where, like, I'm just not, people, like, a lot of the people in the comments and on the live chat and shit are just not happy with me. I don't remember what it was about, but they were pissed at me. I told him about it, and I was like, what I want you to, like, if you're cool with it, I just want you to find, like, these little, all night, you know what I mean, tonight, as you're just being a normal guest, find these little ways to, like, needle me. And he's like, oh, I see what you're saying. He's like, yeah. Like, just be shitty to you every once in a while. I was like, yeah. And then at the end of the show, you know what I mean, when it's about time for the show to end, really ramp it up, and we'll like do a fake fist fight or something. And he laughed his fucking ass off. He was all about it. He was like, yes, yeah, this is a good idea. And so we did, that's how it went down. And it was received the exact opposite way. 90% of the fan base thought it was real and hated Billy for picking on me. Which was the opposite reaction I was trying to get. Like, I was hoping everybody would be like, yeah, fucking Billy, tell that Paul, fucking, yeah. You know what I mean? And it went the opposite way. It was like, man, who the fuck is this Billy guy coming in here? Paul may be a salty fucking asshole, but he's our salty fucking asshole. Get this fat fuck out of here, boo. was like, what the fuck? Whoops. Is this the boo? No. No. Is this? Where's the boo? I guess I don't have a boo. I need to get a boo. Yeah, they were like, it's our job to bully Paul, not this fucking Billy piece of shit. But it was fun, dude. I went home that very night and I had Chelsea help me. She brought out her makeup and gave me a fake shiner. And I did this like quick update video where like I had sunglasses on and then I took it off at the end and had this big shiner, you know, and everybody's like, oh my fucking God, dude. Billy fucking, look at what he did. It's like, oh my God, man. This shit is too easy. But I loved it, dude. I loved that. Like, for those of you that hated the kayfabe on DP, I will take a good slice of the blame for that shit. Because as soon as I figured out that, like, we could, like, play the audience like a wrestling match, you know what I mean? And that we could have these different, like wrestling was a very core thing to DP. And not just in what we covered, but in how the show was structured. And once I figured out like how this was used to keep this like ebb and flow of audience reaction and to create these like hero arcs for each of us and these villain arcs for each of us, I was obsessed with that shit. I was obsessed with it. I wanted to do it all the time. Like, I wanted to do it all the time. I wanted to turn DP into a show that was really centered around that. Like, yeah, we covered this other stuff, but it was really centered around this conflict and story arcs that we would keep going behind the show. Like, I really wanted to nurture that in the show. And, you know, a lot of people hated it, but the show got really popular while we were doing it. So they hate watched a lot, you know, and I liked that. He canceled kayfabe ideas. There was one that was really good. We were going to do so you guys remember we had the bong Vader. Vader wasn't actually a bong. Vader was just a bowl that was shaped like Darth Vader, and then he could be moved to any number of bongs. So the Vader bong changed constantly, but the Vader was a bowl. And I had this whole plan with Ben because people could sense the tension between me and Ben, a lot of which was real, some of which was fabed up. And so I went to Ben at one point, and I was like, dude, we got to play off this. And he's like, all right, well, how do you feel? What do you want to do? I was like, all right, what about if you and I, during a show, getting in like one of our little spats, right? And it leads to me breaking Vader. And he was like how? I was like, we just get like a cheap bong or something, right? People don't know that Vader's not a bong. They think, you know. So we get a cheap bong and you pass me Vader or whatever at some point. And at some point during the fight, I just get all fucking pissed off and I grab Vader and I just smash it on the fucking ground, right? And then, you know, we could set up a second camera kind of pointed down towards the end of the table where the little kitchenette was in the studio apartment that we were doing the show out of was. We could point a camera that way, and you could get up, and we could have like a little scuffle. We could have a table set up, and you could choke slam me through a table. Like, that's the bare bones of it. It was going to be a whole choreographed argument that escalated into me breaking a bong and then Ben and I getting into like a physical tussle in front of the cameras and then Ben grabbing me and basically like choke slamming me down through a table. Now, I've done stage combat and shit. I've never been choke slammed through a table, but we had it all planned out. We were going to get like one of those weak plastic tables that folds in the middle, weaken the joints so that it was collapsed way easier. We were going to like, you know, unscrew the joints in the center and then put a tablecloth or something over it and put a bunch of pillows underneath it. So when I got slammed through it, you know, it looked real bad, but... And, yeah, we were going to go forward with that, but for whatever reason, one reason or another, it just never came to fruition before the show ended. But, yeah, there were a lot of Fabe ideas that I've figured out, you know, were that I've forgotten about. Sorry, that we'd planned that never really came to fruition. I wonder if there's anyone who actually believed TJ fisted you on that one episode. Oh yeah, dude, there were tons of people. There were tons of people. Now there were some people that just kind of jokingly pretended that they believed it or whatever. You know what I mean? But there were a significant amount of people that believed that TJ at least put a couple fingers in my ass on that episode, which was, you know what I mean? Whatever. You say you used to not like TJ. Well, for people like Brett Keane and Fake Sagan, it's the other way around. They used to be friends with TJ, but now they want nothing to do with him. Okay. I mean, thanks for the 10 Canadian bucks. I mean, yeah. I mean, I didn't like TJ at first, but he was kind of a rising star in this atheism community on YouTube that I was starting to involve myself in. And as a result of that, I was exposed to more and more of his shit and ended up liking him a lot. And then he and I, kind of had a little back and forth friendship. He would comment on my shit. I would comment on his shit. And, but that was years and years went by before I was ever on DP. He really grapefruited you though, right? Oh yeah, that was real. The grapefruiting was totally real. People actually believed that. I can understand why you guys wanted to shed the DP audience. I mean, we didn't really want to shed the DP audience necessarily, but a certain element of it. There was an element of the DP audience that, because of the fan interaction that we did and because of how closely the fans were listened to when things happened that they liked or didn't like, and how oftentimes sweeping changes to the format of the show would happen as a result of just fans bitching. That's the element we wanted to shed for sure. Never again will I have a property where the fans tell me what it is they want to see from me and have because there was a point on DP where the fans basically ran that show. And I'm not trying to talk shit. I didn't have any decision-making fucking powers. Like I said, I was an employee of the Drunken Peasants. I was not an owner. So I made my feelings on it known, but I really had no say-so in changes and shit for most of the Drunken Peasants, if not all of it, that I was on. But there were times where the fan community would be really like, fuck this, we hate this, boo, and there would be this meeting where it's like, we need to change. We need to never do this again or never do that again. And I'm like, my instinct was always like, all right, here's my input. Instead of not doing it again, let's ramp it up and do it twice as bad. And then if they continue to bitch, let's do it 4 times as bad. But that advice was rarely, if ever, followed. That angle of attack was not taken. The safe way was always taken. And what that meant was, like I said, there was a point in time, especially towards the middle end of DP, where the fans controlled that show. If they didn't like something, it was gone. It was never mentioned again. All they had to do was just comment enough. Vadim's bullshit Applebee's story is one of the most memorable DP moments for me. I never heard someone spin such a bullshit story. I was dying. That was pretty funny. He didn't think so, but everybody else did, so fuck him. When you guys asked for fan feedback, I asked her to be less messing with you because it led to you being less of a factor on the show. I kind of regret that with the new frame of reference. I mean, it is what it is, dude. I mean, it was a weird show. There was a lot of real angst and a lot of fake angst and a lot of fucking with the expectations of the audience and then a lot of capitulation of the audience in the end, which was, you want my opinion? And this is just me speaking personally. I lost interest in being a part of the Drunken Peasants for a number of reasons. The largest reason being that the fans had the inmates were running the asylum. The fans of that show were dictating what we could and couldn't do on the show, and I hated that. I was just like, that's not the traditional relationship of entertainer and the entertained. You know what I mean? It's like it's the job of the entertainer to give people what they don't know they want, not to capitulate to what they want all the time. Now, sometimes, of course, you listen to your fan feedback. I'm not saying like I'm totally like la 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 la, you know what I mean? But like to really allow fan sentiment to fundamentally change the ebbs and flows of your show, motherfuck that forever. You guys will never see me in that position ever again. Do you think the fans knew they were in control? How could they not? How could they not? They would riot and then shit would disappear. They would bitch for 2 or 3 shows and then whole segments would be changed. They would bitch for 2 or 3 shows and then entire fundamental parts of the show would change tone or change. Yeah, of course they knew they were in. Like that's why it got so fucking toxic. Because it's just like people realized they could bitch and change this super popular show that was on the internet, and a lot of them were doing it just to do that. Like they weren't even really bitching. It was just like, oh, we can exert influence on this show. Well, let's do it. We hate this, do this, you know, and if they did it enough, we did. Like, fuck that, never again. Favorite atheist YouTube besides you and your crew? I used to like Captain Awesome back in the day. I used to like Fake Sagan back in the day before he became Orthodox Christian Chris Anderson. Fake Sagan was pretty brutal back in the day. There's a lot of names that I'm remembering. There's some on my channel page. Like if you go to the landing, like the front page of my channel, I still have some recommended channels, some old ass atheists that I never updated off of there. A guy named Phil Hellenes was really good. I used to like Cody Weber's old stuff before he and TJ. Well, I liked his collaboration with TJ too, but Cody had his own thing kind of going on prior to that. I used to watch him quite a bit. What's your favorite moment from DP? I don't know, man. You know me and favorites. I don't really have one. Just being on the show, man, it was great. Like honestly, it sounds like I'm sitting here bitching about it, but it was just lessons learned, you know. Like overall, I fucking loved that show. I literally would have jumped in front of a fucking bullet for that show. Like, you guys have no fucking clue. I really believed that show had the potential to be even more special than it was. And that potential was not realized, and that sucks, but you know, I treated it as such the whole time I was there until the very end. I'll admit I checked out at the end. My last few weeks on DP were pretty much, I could have just not been there. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. There's no way you couldn't. I mean, being on that show at the height of it is just something you can't explain to somebody. It was just fucking, the energy was crazy. The fucking, you know what I mean? Just the whole buzz about it was crazy. How often do you stream? As often as I feel like streaming. Some weeks I stream every other day. Some weeks I don't stream at all. The show went really downhill after you started alternating hosts. Well, yeah, I mean that it was dying at that point. That was the exit was happening at that point. So it was creative differences that split up DP. I always thought something happened behind the scenes that killed it. No, I mean, it really was like TJ made a big video and there's this like, look, were there other factors? Yes. Were there personal factors that led to DP kind of weakening and stratifying before it fell apart? Yes. Is that the main reason why DP became a different show and a lot of the hosts left? No. TJ was not lying when he said that it was ultimately creative differences that ended that collaboration. And it was just creative differences about the fucking, direction and future of the show that could not be reconciled. The show is still going. I'm talking about the original cast. I'm not talking about the current iteration, nor shit talking the current iteration. I'm talking about my involvement and the involvement of the other two co-hosts that left. People bring up DP conspiracies every other stream. The past of the past. It's DFF time. I mean, I understand. Like, to the limited extent I can, I don't hate talking about the show. Like I said, it was a great time in my life. It was fun. I had a lot of fun on that show, So it's not something that I loathe talking about. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that, they want to hear about it. They want to talk about it. You guys and RLM are my favorite YouTubers. Thanks for the great content. Hey, no problem, buddy. Red Letter Media, I'm assuming, is RLM. Cool. Yeah, I like them too. I mean, I don't watch them tons, but I don't watch anybody tons. I like checking out their half in the bag stuff sometimes. It's because of creative differences just by comparing current DP to DFF. You can see that. I mean, like, absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, when we all sat down as a group, as a crew, the three of us to really plan out and conceptualize DP, the fundamental thing at the center of it that we built around was not allowing it to get stagnant for us. Obviously, you don't want it to get stagnant for the audience either, but we wanted to make sure that we were not pigeonholed like we were during DP into covering the same types of things, doing these predictable weekly every show segments that covered the same people, the same dramas, the same kind of things. And we wanted to do away with that completely. And so that's what we did. You paid me $5 to call me a useless blob? Cool. Insult me more, daddy. Give me another $5. I love it, man. The only job in the world where people will pay you to fucking insult you. No, don't block him. Fuck no. He's a pay pig. Let him keep insulting me. Come on, man. You could do better than useless blob. That YouTube drama brings in the bread. Sure it does, but it also brings with it an abiding and deep sense of boredom. Where do you see DFF going? Dank Dungeons, more segments, live shows and guests? Yes and no and all of that. Like, the great thing about DFF, it's fundamentally designed to be changeable. It's a mutable property. And we've added things that we never even conceived, like when we first started DFF, we didn't even want to cover the news. Then we came up with a kind of a little format to do a weekly news show and roll it into the property. There's a constant, the banter-sodes are another thing that was just kind of came out of conversation with the guys about different types of episodes that we could try that were less formatted and more free form. Yeah, I mean, like, if we get bored, like that's the thing is, like, we choose our subjects. We choose what we do shows about. We choose the tone and timbre of those shows. So it's really designed to fight burnout in the performers that are part of it. Here's another $5 for you because you need it, you blob. forever living in the DP days, like the dad from Married with Kids relived his football. It's Married with Children, and Al Bundy was one of the biggest badasses that ever lived on the fucking planet. So you've yet again not really insulted me all that much. But thank you again for more of the money. I enjoy it. Keep it coming, buddy. You'll get there eventually. Married with Kids. Married with Children, my friend. Love and marriage, love and marriage. It's an institute you can't disparage. Ask the local gentry, and they will say it's elementary. Try to separate them. It's an illusion. Try, and you will only come to this conclusion. Love and marriage, love and marriage. I had to shorten it because 150 character limit. Children didn't fit. Keep giving me updates. Keep them coming. Keep those updates flying, buddy. You guys are at your absolute best when you're talking about things you're interested and passionate about. I agree. I feel as though the people smart enough to deliver a truly devastating insult would never do it to someone as kind as Paul. That is true. What a kind and noble person I am. Undeserving of any insult. To this conclusion. What do you mean you weren't interested in talking about Corpse Midget every week? No, wasn't interested in talking about Corpse Midget or Gail Cord Schuler or the matinee, although that did stay interesting for a while. The matinee kind of stands on his own, but last update of the night, I just finished my bowel movement and it's time to wipe. As soon as my legs wake up anyway. Night, daddy. All right, night, son. Have a good poop. CDU's vlogs. Oh, Corpse Midget was pretty good meme, not gonna lie. Oh yeah. Like the first 100 times we watched him or so, it was pretty funny. The next 900 though, maybe it was funny for y'all, but it started to get a little bit stale on my end. I'm not gonna lie. Every time I watch the news, I think about the AI overlord you talk about. Good. Good. Save us, AI overlord. Take the fucking mantle of governance away from these shaved apes that can't fucking get it together, and tell us how to live our lives in peace and harmony and fulfillment. Do you guys still do the movie commentary? We do. We're actually meeting next week to do this month's. Do a skeleton. Yes, do a skeleton. I'm not going to do a skeleton. I don't feel like doing a skeleton tonight. You're going to have to wait for the fucking skeleton. You don't just tell me when to do the skeleton. The skeleton pops out when the skeleton pops out. Did you guys hear that? Man, whatever happened to Glenn the skeleton, though? I don't know, man. He's around somewhere. Good old Glenn. Paul, my wife is going to her best friend's wedding, and I'm afraid she's going to bring COVID back. Tell her not to go. Tell her best friend to fucking postpone that goddamn fucking wedding. You officially retired from marine biology. Yes, I'm a retired aspiring marine biologist. Also, a retired aspiring clinical social worker, retired aspiring high school drama teacher, retired aspiring working stage actor or equity actor. How's the weight loss going? It's going, buddy. Slow and steady wins the race. I'm eating good. I'm feeling good. Also, before I go, I'm sorry for calling you names. I'm projecting. I'm a loser and my life has amounted to nothing. I take it out on YouTubers. Wow. That's deep. I'm sorry to hear that, Robert, but it's cool. You didn't hurt my feelings or nothing. It's all good, man. I'm sure you're a good guy. Don't be so hard on yourself, man. At least he's honest about it. Well, yeah, I mean, moments of clarity are, growth moments in the human lifespan. Good on you there, Robert. Yeah, dude, he took that shit and he was like, what have I become? He had a clarity shit. I've had those before. You get a lot of good ideas on the can sometimes. Have a clarity shit, and all of a sudden you just see yourself at your fucking lowest. You're like, oh my God. My sweetest friend. What have I become? I'm a loser too. Here, have some money. Damn. Well, you can't be that much of a loser if you got $10 to just throw around, man. Are you guys so down on yourselves in here? I'm such a source of light and love and self-worth, that I don't understand how I could have so many depressed people that hate themselves watching me. How did I get that kind of an audience? Oh, my God. I might need to go have a clarity shit after this. Might be time for a clarity shit. Why are you so bad? I don't think you're bad. I don't think you're bad, man. Doug Stanhope has similar fans. He gets suicide notes in the mail all the time. Cool. Good for Doug Stanhope. We're all bad, I guess. Either everyone's bad or no one is, We're all doomed. Well, sure. That's always been true. Every man is doomed. Every woman is doomed. From the first breath you take, you are doomed to die. Just the way it is, man. Are you guys planning on staying in Louisiana? Capital N, capital O. Capital H, capital E, capital double L, space, capital N, capital O. Depressed people watch you because you're the definition of failure, and it makes us feel better to watch you, like hanging out with a friend. Oh. Thank you and fuck you, Rob. Paul, what's up with that caricature in the corner? What? This over here? That's a Goonies caricature that I got from as a birthday present. I think Ben got it for me for my birthday. It was from a little stall at Pike Place Market in Seattle. Or are you talking about this down here? That little caricature. That's Gorilla. You don't recognize Gorilla when you see him? Rob is one rich loser. He's not a loser, dude. Rob's a cool dude. Rob's a cool guy. He just got problems, man. Everybody's got problems. I need to get myself a self-loathing audience to bankroll me. Yeah, man. That's the dude. If I knew how I got one, I'd let you know. What states are you looking at moving to? We'll talk about that when we're closer to the actual move. It's best to keep certain things under your hat. So there's nothing decided yet. We've got a short list. We're gonna go and probably try and safely look at some options and travel to these places when that becomes feasible and safe to do, and check them out and pick a spot and go. Why are you moving? Because Louisiana fucking sucks. Yeah, dude, I'm not going to discuss time frames and states and shit. And there's absolutely no way that I'm going to move to your state just because it's mentioned in the chat. So you can shelf that idea. Yeah, I'm a stateless man. Freddie Quell, master of the seas. He knows no masters. He goes where he please. Come to Bangladesh. Oh, dude, I'm on my way. I'm packing. Should I just bring some underwear? I could pack light for Bangladesh, right? Sarah is a cutie, and here's another buck. Oh, shit, Sarah. Oh, shit. Oh, shit, dude. Is there a blossoming love affair happening right here in the fucking Highdeology chat? Can you guys imagine? Can you guys imagine? Oh, snap. Love is a many splendored thing. Sarah's a catfish, yeah. You've just been catfished, Robert Donahue. Sarah is a 55-year-old man with a big hairy gut playing World of Warcraft while she watches the stream. Cringe coma. Cringe coma. I am in a cringe coma. This latest WoW X pack is the worst one ever. Like, good Lord. Man, I'm so glad I stopped playing that game like 8 years ago. Thank the Lord. I can't imagine like still being like a person that plays World of Warcraft and bitching about it, but not being able to quit it. That's got to be like hell. Yep, you reeled another one in, Sarah. Good on you. Would you ever want to be in a long-term poly relationship, or have you already? No and no. Well, I don't know. I guess theoretically I would be open to it, but I think it would end in horrible, disastrous tragedy. I don't know that I'm built for it. I'm open-minded, but it's not something that I am looking to seek out or try. Wieners out for Sarah. Rise up, fellas. Look at you. Robert Donahue, you silver-tongued devil. You panty dropper, you. You moistener. Look at this guy, man. Yeah, Sarah's got her wiener out too, so. Wiener's out. Oh my God. All right, guys. I think I've had enough. Thank you guys for chilling with me tonight. It's been fun. It's been real, but it hasn't been real fun. As usual, I'll catch you some other time. Good luck getting them digits, Rob. Hope it works out for you. See you guys later. Bye.